our own well-being depends upon the well-being of the whole, or we will, out of ignorance, continue to believe that we are separate, that we can somehow bring benefit to ourselves while we damage others.
And that the beginning of health is with the activation of feelings of love, hope, faith, will to live, purpose, determination.
And what I'm trying to do is just make people passionate again.
I hope you don't mind my benchmark. Hope I don't offend Diana Wentworth. She's still in charge, still looking good, fell in love again. We knew she would.
He then has to take responsibility, and he has to say, I will be responsible for this vision. I will make it come to pass. And then he has to do it.
And this great trip in 1985 that so many of you were a part of and that Paul was a part of, that trip was not only a door opener, but as I said earlier, I felt I was simply the explorer that took a machete and went in and looked for a little crack, a little space, and I took the machete and I cleared away the underbrush. And then I came back and I told others about it. And they had the courage and the fortitude at that time in our history, and to defy the doubts, the fears, the skepticism of their friends, their families, even of our government. They had the courage to cross those barbed wire borders. And when they crossed those borders, it was not just crossing the borders of a country that represented the unknown on our planet at that time, but they crossed the borders of their own consciousness, of any limitation that they may have held within themselves. And they crossed those borders and faced fears that they did not even know they had, to help make the breakthrough that now Gorbachev's advisor said to me a few weeks ago in Moscow. He said, do you know that it is the people that you have brought into our country that have made the major contribution to perestroika and have helped free our people?
And then you're a part of a group that takes that all the way to the level of being leaders. And every single one of you has in one fingernail enough information and knowledge to go out and make a huge difference in other parts of the world and other parts of this country.
One thing you might not realize, Keith, is that my agent is God. I said, oh.
It's all about integrating one's life and one's work and the concept of working from essence.
I call that essence. I look at work, I integrate this way of looking at ourselves and the world into our work, in that if we work from a place of essence, if we work from an identification with the divine, then we're going to be very, very effective in what we do.
I have been shocked, as I'm sure many of you have been in the last few years, to see, particularly after the 60s and 70s, this extraordinary return to barbaric superstition and fundamentalist religion. This notion that there's one God, and that one God is our God, and of course he's a male, and he happens to be a pretty pissed off male.
The investigation of meditation, of mantra, of tantra, of yantra, over and over again, exploring to find the bottom line. What is it that will deliver constancy? How do I get it? What is it about?
For those of you who weren't, I will very quickly just summarize some of my training and interests. And then I'd like to talk to you tonight about the nuts and bolts of the changes in medicine that are coming about, and the wellness movement, and the potential that you have as healthcare consumers to change the kind of medical care that you can get.
Do you speak English?
Bellow.
Not quite yet. Do you have any children?
Bellow.
Not quite yet. Do you know the meaning of life?
Bellow.
Not quite yet.
You're gonna find your way to heaven is a rough and rocky road. If you don't stop and smell the roses along the way.
All we are saying is give me such a
And people, we tend to turn to the East when we want these great spiritual disciplines, yoga, Aikido, Tai Chi. I'm going to let you ask the Swami questions, okay?
So we started 6 years of doing research and collecting research on people who were successful. And when I use success for the rest of the morning, I'm talking about people who are successful in all 3 areas.
If I am trying to be who I'm not, and I'm putting more and more energy into trying to be who I'm not, it's appropriate that I feel hopeless.
Exciting time to be here with you this morning. This is a first for me, and certainly it will not be a last. What a bunch.
Yeah. I wanted to report on how we're doing in the Theater for the Future. The first thing I have to do is acknowledge you, because the truth is it wouldn't be happening without the Inside Edge.
Good morning! Woo! Woo!
We plunged, we dunked, we massaged, we touched, we moaned, we groaned, we did it all.
One, I just got back from the Soviet Union, and the announcement is there is no enemy.
Life is an evolutionary experience, and we have come to the point now where we have outgrown democracy.
The purpose as being that motivating force that we feel. It's a combination of all of our talents and our abilities, and it's something that the nice thing about growing older is that you can actually look back on your life from a little bit of a higher ground.
And I watched myself saying, wait a minute, this guy's doing what I do, and he does it better than I'm doing it. So
it's a real reality for all of us, and I'm going to stay with stuff that, because we're powerful, we can stop the war, we can end AIDS, we can do lots. So it's staying positive about those things, not relishing in the sorrow.
That if the Inside Edge is going to be what it can be for everybody, it needs to be financially grounded, it needs to be able to spread across the United States so that it is this huge community of people who are dedicated to their own self-growth and to peace on earth.
Once you get clear about what it is you want, your subconscious figures out how. What does your subconscious figure out? How. No matter what it is. That's why I say you can do anything if you really impress the subconscious, you'll express in the sweetest face the experience you want.
So it's very important to remember that this body is who you are.
As some of you know, I got to be there at the conception of the Inside Edge. I got to watch. And Paul and Diana.
Fresh start. We sprinkle it on different people. Just like this.
You folks live in a place of power. You live in a place of power right here in Beverly Hills, Hollywood, and Burbank. You can feel it when you come here.
It's yesterday for us to be saying those people that are making nuclear weapons are evil. And of course that makes us good.
But what comes is so deep and so rich. And Ted says we get thinner as we get older. What he means is our skin gets thinner, and we can see who we really are. We're so much more aware of who we really are as we get into middle age, and it's just a wonderful place to be.
I'd like to share with you some of the things I've learned. And I guess the things that you teach are the things that you most need to learn, because you felt the most enthusiasm about them.
I think the reason why that they're respecting us is because we're basically the only ones still standing. And they haven't really tried our concept.
So that you can see the old way of getting what you want doesn't work any longer. But look what a welcome relief it is. I don't have to do that today.
And give it to Lisa Mercier or Joanna, and they'll be happy to send you. They'll get you a tape for the week.
Feeling crap. That ain't for me because I know how to touch and feel.
Chick stuff, it's bullshit, it's chick stuff. I'm telling you, you don't know, I walked by that studio one time down there in that garage in Venice, and I saw those guys, instead of slugging each other, they meet each other, you know what they do? You're not gonna believe this. They actually hug one another. Get out, man!
They talk about how to communicate, man.
Communicate? You talk a little louder, that's how you communicate.
That's great.